Good morning, my fellow humans. Today, I'm going to talk about something that happened last Sunday and January 5th, 2025. It happened this year in 2025, last Sunday. So, what I'm going to talk about is a young woman. She was forced to apologize in church for being pregnant. Now, I say young woman because I don't know her exact age. She's probably a teenager. She's probably 15, 16, 17, or she's probably in her early 20s. I don't know her age, but she was forced to apologize for being pregnant. So, anyways, this happened in Virginia. This is an African American church. It's a apostolic church. My auntie went to an apostolic church, and they have some different traditions there. And at this church, it seemed like most of the members, especially most of the people who were sitting in the front, were older people. The pastor was older, and that's fine. But the pastor judged her as she was shamed in front of the church. They basically threw this young woman under the bus. So I'm going to talk about what happened. So the pastor tells the girl to stand up in front of the church. So she stands in front of the church, and she's not standing in the center of the church. So he tells her, he said, okay, stand in the center in front of everybody. And then he tells her not to touch the table. It's the communion table, okay? So she stands in front of the center and does what the pastor tells her. And he says, stand right there. And so she does. And then she says, good morning, saints. And then she says, I'm pregnant. And she has a noticeable baby bump. She's pregnant. And she says that she's sorry for being pregnant. And she asked the church to pray for her. And then she walks away, and the church claps for her. And some people stand up and clap for her. And it seems like the pastor don't like that. It seems like he don't like that the people clapped for her and stood up for her. So when the girl walks away and goes back to her seat, the pastor says, she's not getting a baby shower. Oh no, she may not have a baby shower because we don't condone sin. So he said she does not get a baby shower. And then he says she may not have a secret baby shower. He said none of that. Okay. Now we're getting into cult-like behavior, okay? The pastor is saying that she can't have a baby shower, and then he says nobody better give her a secret baby shower. Okay, look, if you do give a woman a baby shower who had a baby outside of marriage, you're not condoning sin. You're saying, okay, you're having a child. The child needs certain things. The child needs diapers, Vaseline, a car seat, a stroller, baby clothes, you name it. The baby needs these things. And so if you give a woman a baby shower, you're not condoning her sin. You're just saying, okay, the baby needs these things. A baby is a baby. A baby, all babies should have love, care, and support, and babies need what they need, no matter if the woman is having a baby outside of marriage or in marriage. The baby is a baby, okay? So this pastor, he appears to be very ignorant of what's really going on, and he's judging this young woman, and he's throwing her under the bus. And it's very easy to throw a young person or a child under the bus in church. So the pastor was being very judgmental. He said that the grandma can take care of her granddaughter. He said that's fine, but she doesn't deserve to have a baby shower because we don't condone sin. Okay, that's not the only sin that Christians do, though. Okay, so if she has to apologize for her sins, I think everybody else in the church should apologize for their sins. That's other sins that people can do. Here's some of the things that some Christians do. Some Christians overeat. Overeating is a sin according to the Bible. The Bible says don't overeat. Don't. If you're full and if you keep eating, it's bad to be a gluttony. That's what the Bible says. Don't glut. Gluttony means don't overeat. Well, guess what? A lot of Christians do that. A lot of Christians get up in the middle of the night, or like at like 2:30 in the morning, and go in the refrigerator and eat some ice cream and eat some pie, eat some Cheetos, sit on the couch or stand in the kitchen and eat some Cheetos super early in the morning or in the middle of the night. Some people have midnight snacks. A lot of Christians overeat. Okay? Are people standing in front of the church saying, I want to apologize to the church congregation because I committed the sin of gluttony? I don't think people are doing that in church. Okay? This woman, back to this young woman, she's very, very young. But if a woman my age, I'm in my 40s now, if a woman who was in her 40s got pregnant outside of marriage, I don't think she's going to stand up in front of the church and apologize. Because by the time you in your 40s, you know there's a lot of hypocrisy going on in Christianity. There's a lot of hypocrites in Christianity. Okay? So like I said, if the girl had to apologize, then everybody should have to apologize for their sins. People are doing different sins in the church. Why would this be the only sin in the church that should be put out in the front? Well, I have an answer for that because it's visible. Being pregnant and having a baby bump is visible. Yeah, it's visible. So, for example, there's this man, this is pastor, his name is Ted Haggard, okay? And Ted Haggard is he still is, but he was a pastor over a huge church in Colorado. And he talked against immorality. He spoke against the LGBTQ community, but he himself was gay. And so nobody knew until the male prostitute presented evidence. He presented a receipt and phone information that this pastor had contacted him so that they could have adult male sex together. Okay? And so Ted Haggard, he should have been honest. He should have said that he was attracted to man. He should have been honest with that. But instead, he was being a hypocrite. And I'm not gossiping about Pastor Ted Haggard because there's a documentary about him. And he went on the Oprah Winfrey show. So he put his information out there himself, And so did this gay male man who was with him. So he was being a hypocrite. Okay, so there's a lot of Christian hypocrites. There's a lot of Christian pastors who are hypocrite. And so to single out this teenager girl and throw her under the bus, that was not good. And anyways, this young woman did not need to be punished by the pastor because being pregnant as a teenager and being an unwed mom, that's consequence enough. Her life is going to be hard enough, okay? Giving birth, she's going to experience pain from giving birth. I know. She's going to have to deal with waking up in the middle of the night to take care of the newborn baby, okay? That's a consequence. She don't need to be punished by the church. She don't need that. She does not need that. And by the way, not all Christians are the same. Some Christians are saying that her issue, that's between her and God and the man that got her pregnant, okay? And some Christians are saying that she should not have been made to apologize to the congregation because that's her private problem. Some Christians are saying that. And then there's plenty of Christians and secular people alike who are saying that she does deserve a baby shower because the baby needs what the baby needs. You don't say, okay, you had a baby outside of wedlock, now suffer. She's going to naturally suffer. She don't need the additional punishment. She did not need that. By the way, who is the father? I don't know who the father of the child is, but he's not coming up in front of the church to apologize for getting her pregnant. He's not. Okay? I don't know if it was one of the men in the church. I don't know if it was a man outside the church. But I will not be surprised if it was the pastor of the church that got her pregnant. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because I have heard of so many hypocrites. Okay, I was raised in a church. Both of my parents are pastors. I visited many different denominations. The Apostolic Church, they're not the only ones who make young women apologize in front of the church for getting pregnant outside of marriage. Some of the Catholics do it. Not all of them. Some of them do it. Some of the Baptists, they make girls apologize in front of the church. Who else? The non-denominational evangelical churches, some of them do it too. Okay? And so I went to a church where a young woman got pregnant outside of marriage, and we did not make her apologize in front of the church. But a judgmental usher, an older man who was an usher, approached her and told her that he was disappointed in her for getting pregnant outside of marriage. But he did not need to tell her that, because guess what? He was not a virgin when he got married. Okay? So why did he need to judge her just because her sins are visible? He did sin too. He committed sexual sin, but his sexual sin was not visible. So let's not forget, a man can preach a sermon, have sex outside of marriage, and then he can take a shower and wake up the next day and preach another sermon. Man, they don't get pregnant. They can get somebody else pregnant, but they themselves don't get pregnant. So their sin is not always visible. It's not always visible unless somebody confronts them and prevent DNA and all that kind of stuff and present evidence. Then his, sin can be visible. By the way, I don't believe in the concept of sin. I believe that there are some things that people do that are wrong. I believe that some wicked people need to go to jail for doing wicked, illegal things, but I don't believe in the concept of sin. I don't believe in these things anymore. I'm a former Christian, and I completely see the hypocrisy of the situation. And so many other Christians do see the hypocrisy of the situation. And by the way, why are there so many scandals in the church? Because a lot of Christians, they're not allowed to be themselves. They're not allowed to be themselves, and their lives are so restricted, and they have high standards that they cannot even meet. So that's why a lot of pastors and a lot of Christians, they get involved in a scandal or, make some of these huge, I don't want to say mistakes, but they do things that their religion don't want them to do because nobody could live up to these high standards. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why there's so many scandals in the church. That a lot of Christians cannot be themselves. And by the way, I don't judge this young woman at all. I don't think she should be judged because I remember what it's like to be a teenager. And I remember thinking about boys a lot when I was a teenager. Then when I got older, when I got in my early 20s, I thought about men a lot. I really liked men. I would be doing my chores, like cleaning the dishes and sweeping the floor. And all of a sudden, I thought about being alone with a man would pop into my head. Like, I really like men. And when I was single, I thought about men a lot. I thought about it would be fun to be alone with a man and to get naked with a man. I'm just being honest. I'm telling the truth. But I waited until I was married. And I'm going to make a point. Just because I was a virgin when I got married, that does not mean I was better than other people. Virgins are not better than other people. I want to make that point. Just because you're a virgin when you get married, that does not mean that you are better. Virgins have other problems in their lives. Yes, I just want to make that point. Make that a big point. Here's the other point I want to make. A lot of Christians are against abortion. So some Christians say, oh yeah, abortion, that's really, really bad, But if the unwed mom decides to keep her baby, some Christians think that she should be punished for that too. Okay, so you don't want her to get an abortion. Okay, you don't want her to get an abortion, but you want her to keep the baby, but you punish her for keeping the baby. Make it make sense. That does not make sense. okay? She's going to get punishment enough just for the consequence of having a baby outside of marriage. Okay, that's enough work on its own. That's enough consequence on its own. So, anyways, you know what? Here's the thing. Yes, I was a Christian. I went to a Christian college. Yes, I was I really took it seriously. But when it comes to abortion, before we had this abortion ban, like back when I was in college, before the abortion ban, most of the people, and you can look this up yourself, most of the people who were getting abortion were church-going women, because they did not want to confess to the church that they had sex outside of marriage. So they got an abortion to avoid all that. You can look it up. You can look it up. A lot of Christian women did go to the abortion clinic because they didn't want to deal with the consequences of standing up in front of the church. They didn't want to be embarrassed. They didn't want to deal with all that. Okay? So it is what it is. So there was a girl who went to a different Christian college than I went to, and a boy in my college told her story. He said there was a girl who was pregnant in college, and she hid her pregnancy, and then she smothered her baby to death. And this is the boy said to the class during prayer request time. And this boy had a smile on his face, okay? And then the teacher prayed for the situation. The teacher said, may God's name be uplifted in this situation. So even though I was a Christian, I thought that his prayer was weird. It was a weird prayer. And why was this boy smiling when he gave the news that the girl took the life of her baby after she gave birth to it in the dorm room, and she smothered the baby to death, and the boy was smiling about it? What if he was the father? Okay, so yeah, sometimes many Christians do get pregnant outside of marriage because the vagina wants what the vagina wants. It wants what it wants. People have biological urges. People have natural urges. Sometimes a woman wants to be with a man, but what we need to do is talk to these young people, and many of these parents need to talk to these young people and say, I understand that you have sexual desires, but we just need to be responsible with it. And if you're afraid to talk to your teenager about sex, then you can go to the hospital and or a clinic and talk to a nurse about it and get the nurse point of view, ask the nurse questions about it. And some of us, we need to tell our kids to wait. I have a teenager daughter, and I told her it's important to wait to have sex. Wait until you are an adult. And I gave her my thoughts. My thoughts are that I think that it's not a good idea to have sex in middle school or high school. I think you're better off waiting until you're fully grown, And those are my thoughts. But the bottom line is, you don't have to think like me. It's okay to think differently from me. The point is, I'm encouraging parents to talk to these kids so that they can feel like somebody care about them, so that they can feel love, so they can make better decisions for themselves. These kids need love. They need good sexual education. They need good sex education. That's what I'm saying, from a healthy place. And abstinence only education is not real education. That's not real sex education, by the way. I just had to put that out there. Abstinence only is not sex education. These kids need sex education so that they can make better decisions for themselves. And some of these kids are not getting good sex education. Some of them, they feel what they feel, and I understand what it's like to be attracted to. I admit I'm attracted to man. I love man. I love man too much. I'm just being honest. So because of that, I got my own man, okay? I got my own man, and I have my children, okay? I'm just being honest. So for now, the human race will continue for now because, we are attracted to, who we are attracted to. But, yeah, I just want to say this one more time. Hypocrisy is big within Christianity. Hypocrisy is very, very big. And I also want to say that the chief sinner, the person who is going around judging other people and judging other people and pointing their fingers at other people, they're the chief among sinners. The Christian who is saying you're wrong for having sex outside of marriage and judging and pointing and pointing a finger at people who are not living up to their high standards, that person is the biggest sinner of them all. They are the chief among sinners. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if you ever see a Christian loudly judging somebody, loudly telling another person how they should live their lives, that person has problems of their own. Okay, I guarantee it. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? So please comment in the comment section below, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.